guys, welcome back to my 12 days of Christmas, where I'll be posting every other day in the month of December until Christmas. If you're new here, I'm Christiane, and I like to post videos about various topics, including but not limited to my academic journey as a pre-med, beauty and fashion videos, natural hair videos, and the occasional glimpse into my personal life. If these sound like topics you might be interested in, don't be shy, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Also, if you do like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment because it helps my videos out a lot. And I really wanted to talk about self-affirmations and how they've completely changed my life for the better, and how they've helped to make me more self-confident and better at achieving my goals. Of course, being that I love science and I am pre-med, I did want to look a little bit into the science of self-affirmations and the psychology behind it. So before I get into how self-affirmations help me, I do want to get into the science and the research that's out there about self-affirmations and their efficacy. So obviously we live in a world where we're constantly comparing ourselves to others, our peers, people on social media, and social media has made it even easier for you to compare yourself to millions of people every single day. For some people, social media makes them feel inadequate and they pick and tear themselves apart every single day. I'm guilty of it too. And this can make us feel powerless or like we lack power when this simply is not the case. Your thoughts about yourself, whether you choose to believe it or not, can be cause for self-perpetuating cycles. So what you think or those negative thoughts will affect how you feel and how you perceive yourself. And then those feelings that you get from those thoughts can affect your behaviors and decisions that you make. So what exactly do I mean by this? So I'm going to give you guys an example of what I mean by this. Growing up, for example, my mom would write in every single one of my folders for school, like literally every single one of my folders, she wrote a little poem in there. It said, "Labor for learning before you grow old, for learning is better than silver and gold. Silver and gold will vanish away, but a good education will never decay." And I'm sure as many of you guys know, I really value education. I hold education with high regard. I hold people who hope to use their education to advance society with high regard. And the reason for that is because every single day I read these words, no matter what book I opened, I read these words every single day. They just stuck with me. It's something that's almost ingrained. It was reinforced every single day into my head. So that really affects the way that I think and feel about education, and that reinforced my mindset about school. So that's kind of an example of what I mean. If, for example, growing up my mother was, let's say, just an awful person and told me every single day that I was a failure, she made me say I'm a failure and reinforced those thoughts in my mind, maybe by pointing out things that I messed up on and saying, look, you did this wrong, you're such a failure, then that would have affected my own thoughts about myself, and those thoughts about myself would have given me negative feelings about myself, which then would have affected my behavior and my decisions, and I probably would not have had the self-confidence or had the self-perception that I am smart, I am capable, and I would have probably not been comfortable enough to go out of my comfort zone to go after many of the things that I do try my best to go after in life. You have to fake it until you make it sometimes. So even if you feel that you are not at the body you want, you're not at the life that you want, you're not at whatever it is that you want yet, start telling yourself every day. You have to tell yourself, trick your mind, tell your brain. You have to reinforce in your mind that you are the things that you want to be. So you tell yourself that, you start believing it, you're going to start feeling that way, and you're going to start having behaviors and making decisions to lead you towards going towards where you want to go. Today, a keystone of someone's success is their relative power. The second someone becomes successful in some way, they get this influence or power. People with power seem to be so confident. They seem to have everything going right in their life. They seem to be able to easily achieve whatever they set their mind towards. But the question is this really the case? So a recent study published in Sage Journal looked at the efficacy of self-affirmations in relation to power. And there's been extensive research showing that power hierarchies do affect the way that people go after their goals. They noted that having power has facilitated certain self-regulatory and goal-directed behavior, while people who have low power has been found to consistently hamper those goal-oriented, goal-directed processes. In our society, American society, we can clearly see power differences everywhere. And we all know that some people definitely enjoy more power than others. We're also very aware that many groups of people, women, members of the LGBTQ community, people of color, and many other marginalized groups are stigmatized and put down daily. And for many people, as I've talked about in previous research, this negatively impacts their mental health, their physical health, and their psyche. But more so, the stigmatization, the prejudice, the several isms that these groups have to deal with, these are all viewed as psychological threats. And regardless of who we are, we all have an innate need to be perceived as worthy. So the theory behind self-affirmation and how self-affirmation apparently is supposed to work is that the self system is viewed as flexible. So if one domain of the self is threatened, by affirming another domain of yourself, you can actually help to neutralize the effect of the threatened part or aspect of that self. Affirming the self in a different domain can help to restore some sense of adequacy. This sense of adequacy can be harnessed to buffer the effects of those psychological threats. Let's look at this study testing the hypothesis that self-affirmation can help to improve the inhibitory control of the powerless. So according to the study, or the way that inhibitory control is used in the study, like your natural or your almost like your innate response to situation, and they're saying that people who are quote unquote powerless tend to have very common responses to certain situations or goal directed situations that inhibits them from going towards those things. So what this study found when this hypothesis was tested is that compared with the powerless who did not affirm, the powerless who affirmed or self-affirmed their core personal values, those who did self-affirm and were powerless showed increased improvement in their ability to inhibit their dominant response tendencies in the Stroop task. Also, self-affirmation was shown to eliminate the cognitive gap between the powerless and the powerful. And when the powerless were self-affirming, they were able to suppress those inhibitory control impulses to a level similar to that of someone from the powerful group. And the study also proves, and this is what I mean about I did say this in a video, that social constructs do have very real consequences. Power is a relational construct. It is a somewhat social construct. Power is in relation to someone else. But even though it is, again, kind of a made up sort of thing, it does have a very real effect on our sense of self-worth, on our self-perception. The study also supported findings consistent with the fact that powerlessness, though it is a relational construct, it acts as a psychological threat to one's self-worth. Now, with all of that science being said and some of the studies that and some of the information I presented to you, let's get into how self-affirmations have personally helped me. So as I said earlier, stereotypes and stigmatization can all be viewed as psychological threats that can negatively impact your thoughts, your feelings, and your overall self-perception. Here, some obvious facts. I am female, I'm black, I'm dark-skinned, I have naturally kinky hair, I don't fit into society's conventional mold of beauty. Now, because society as a whole comes to consensus and determines the value and the worth of things, I'm told, or was told, through subliminal messages in the media, through conversations, through things that you just hear in everyday life, that my social location and social value should be low. That I should be a part of one of the more marginalized and ostracized groups in society. I did allow or believe the things the society said, and I allowed for them to be true. And what resulted was a lot of self-hatred. And I do want to say that society having beauty standards or having these ridiculous standards that are very unattainable, the reason why society does that is because it's all about making money. At the end of the day, if you have a standard of what will be celebrated, what will be rewarded, then people are going to go out and spend money. They're going to say, okay, well, I noticed that people who look like this, people who have this, are rewarded for this. So let me go out and spend my money buying these products so or attain that standard. So at the end of the day, it all comes back down to making money. But with all that being said, these standards did result in a lot of self-hatred, and it's not only something that I've experienced, but I'm sure you've heard stories of many other girls and many other women, regardless of ethnicity, dealing with self-hatred in one way or another because of the standards that are set in society, because of the worth and value that's put on certain external things in society. And one thing that my dad in particular would always ask me something about myself that I like that money cannot buy. And I would always come up with something that's on the outside, like my lips. My dad would always remind me, like, hey, if you know the right doctor and have the right amount of money, anybody can buy big lips. Something that my dad really forced me to do is be introspective and to be really self-reflective, and it's something that I force myself to do on my own now. Of course, my dad from time to time still forces me to be introspective. He's always going to be my dad. So what I like to write out is 5 things I can, 5 things I will, and 5 things I am. And it's 15 things, but if you sit there and you really think about those 5 things, and these are not things on the outside, these are things from the inside that you're going to write about yourself. And these are all things that come from within, things that you can work on every single day at no additional cost to yourself. So these are all things that you can work on, that you can build up on, and that you can work on mastering and just being better at. And the thing is that when you work on something and you become better at it, you do become better at it, you become a master at it, you become confident in that thing. Also, it's really important that you are writing down these self-affirmations. The reason why I say this is because you want to reinforce in your brain that these things are true about yourself. It's actually been scientifically proven that writing things down helps to not only help you to retrieve it easier, it helps to reinforce it in your brain. And you want to reinforce these self-affirmations. I can, I will, I am. I can, I will, I am. I can, I will, I am. And some self-affirmations I would write down about myself, that I write down about myself. I am generous, I am healthy, I am helpful, I am worthy, I am smart, I am talented, I am goal-oriented. And I will repeat and write these self-affirmations down. I'll say them out loud, I'll write them down, and I keep saying them every single day, weeks, months if I have to, until I believe them about myself. And even more so, you can't just say it, you also have to work on it. Are you truthfully generous? Are you truthfully kind? Are you truthfully helpful? Are you truthfully creative? So working on those things from the inside. So for me, what's a creative outlet for me? YouTube is a creative outlet for me. It's a way for me to think and come up with new ideas. So that's a way for me to work on that, to become more confident in that. Am I truthfully helpful? Am I truthfully generous? I like to think that I truthfully am a generous person. I try my best to go out of my way to help people in whatever way I can. And that's what's really important about self-affirmation. You start to think these thoughts about yourself, and remember I told you about the cycle. You start having these thoughts, you start feeling that these things about yourself are true. I feel helpful, I feel kind, I feel generous, I feel talented, I feel smart, and then that's going to affect your behaviors. You're going to start going out of your way to look for evidence that you are smart. And doing these self-affirmations has changed my entire life. I really have found myself genuinely being more helpful. I have found myself being more kind. And eventually when you start working on these things, and as I said, when you master them, you become confident within them. And those things that you're confident about within yourself, you become so much more self-confident overall about yourself.
I quickly wanted to include this graph in here because I feel like it's also really important to show. And it was, this part of the study was focused on power asymmetries. And when they compared it, the people who fell into low power and had low self-esteem, as you can see in graph A, they had a really high distractor interference. In graph B, self-affirmed, you could actually see that their distractor interference, the low power groups, distractor interference dropped significantly. It's also interesting to note how high self-esteem and low power had very similar distractor interferences to someone with high self-esteem and high power. And I think that self-esteem goes back to confidence, and it also goes back to your thoughts and your self-perception about yourself. And this can all be affected by self-affirmations.
It's not something that someone can take away from me. No matter what, I'm always going to have this within me. This is a quality that money cannot buy. You can't go to the store and buy this. This is something that is within me. I also use self-affirmations to make myself more attractive. Now, when I say attractive, I don't mean attractive necessarily in like the physical sense, but I made myself more attractive in the sense that I made my mind and my aura more attractive. The thing is that no matter who it is or who a person is, confidence is always attractive. When someone who's confident walks into a room, we all notice them. Their aura, their energy, it's just so powerful and so magnifying. They catch our eye. We want to be their friend. We want to get to know them more. It's just so attractive. They just have this power to them. That power, confidence is an example of power. When someone's confident, nobody can really talk down to a confident person. Nobody talks down to a powerful person. They walk in and they hold that power because they're so confident. And what I think what made me so attractive per se is that because I become so confident in my inward qualities that I've been working on and that I've been self-affirming, began walking into places with my head held high. I wasn't afraid to make eye contact because I knew that on the inside, no matter what, on the inside, that I am this wonderful, great person on the inside, and no one can take those qualities away from me. I just felt more confident looking someone in the eye. I felt more confident walking in a room. I felt more confident doing things, posting things, saying things, because I knew these inner qualities about myself that I am truthfully proud of and that I know I've worked on, that I know I'm working towards mastering. And that's the power of self-affirmation. And the craziest part is I've had more people approaching me, stopping me, even in the middle of this pandemic with masks on, stopping me, people who can't even see or know me. But what is it? It's because my confidence is a magnet. It made me more attractive. And that is what I mean by self-affirmations have helped me to become more attractive. I know that nowadays a lot of focus when it comes to attractiveness is on external features, and that is okay. To be honest, I think that it's okay to want to feel good and look good on the outside. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because when you feel good and look good on the outside, it also helps you to feel good on the inside. And we all want to feel like the best versions of ourselves. But I think that the problem with putting so much focus on outward and external appearance is that we all age. It doesn't matter who you are, we all age, and with age, your external appearance inevitably will change in some way. And what you look like on the outside only accounts for so much. I am 100% sure that we've all come in contact with a person that's just so beautiful on the outside, but then you talk to them and they're just empty. There's nothing there. There's no substance. There's no way to carry on a conversation. They're just an empty vessel, that's like a pretty empty bottle. I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, when it comes to who I'm attracted to, I like people with personality, substance, people who are intellectual, people who, I like enigmas, so people who are just unusual, hard to figure out, but they just have these bright, brilliant minds and these kind souls. That's what I'm personally attracted to. That's what I like to get to know. Those are the people that I like to befriend, and that's what I'm personally attracted to. If you really work on who you are on the inside, it will start to show on the outside, and people will naturally become more attracted to you. And the best part about self-affirmation is that it is free, it costs nothing, and it is a great way for you to work on yourself every single day. And it doesn't matter how old you get, you can always self-affirm, and you can always work on yourself and become a better version of yourself every day for the rest of your life, and it costs absolutely nothing to do it. And the other thing about self-affirmations is that you become so much better at dealing with obstacles and roadblocks in your life, and it's because you have a greater ability to override your dominant inhibitory response to certain situations. So by this I mean, if you're in a situation where maybe you started something and it's failing, instead of you just quitting and giving up, by self-affirming that I am going to succeed, I will succeed, I can succeed, telling yourself and affirming it, then again, you're gonna start feeling it, you're thinking it, you're feeling it, you're gonna behave, you're gonna make decisions to make sure that it can happen. You know, failure, as I've said so many times on this channel, I truthfully think failure is a stepping stone to greatness, because when you fail at something, you suck at something, it gives you a moment or a day or two, or it gives you a moment to stop, pause, clear your slate, reflect, be introspective, and think about how you can approach something differently. You cannot be afraid of failure, and I think that's something that I struggle with, and I think that self-affirmations have helped out so much. Self-affirmations just gives you the strength and the mindset, and strengthens your mindset to let you know that you don't have to have that inhibitory dominant response that you've been conditioned by society to have, to give up or to be powerless because society tells you that you have a certain value or you have a certain worth. I will not buy into the bullcrap that because my skin is dark or my skin is black that I am worth less than. That I will not buy into that. I refuse to allow society to tell me my worth or my value. Instead, I'm going to use self-affirmations and what I know the truth about myself to be, to level myself up and to level my mind up. And So the point of all this is that despite what society wants to tell you, you have the power to affirm the things about yourself that you know are true, that you want to be true, and you have the power to make your thoughts a reality. No one can make you less than or deem you less than without your consent. Only you can do that. And I want you guys to hear me say that again. Nobody can tell you that you are less than, that you are worth less than without your consent. Only you can do that. Truthfully believe self-affirmations can change everything about your life. Yes, we are all human and we're all susceptible to hurtful and mean things that people are going to say, and society is going to try and reinforce in our mind, and the media is going to try to turn up and try to make it seem like it's true. We're all susceptible to that. I've dealt with racism. I've dealt with racism firsthand. Trust me, I know that it exists out there, but I refuse to allow society to try and tell me my worth. I will only affirm the things about myself that I know are true, and anything else is white noise. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it was informational. I hope that it taught you guys something. I tried to include a little bit of science in there because I really love doing research on this stuff. You can also find my social media and you can find me on Instagram at christiangeorges and at christian.georges, and you can also find me on TikTok at christian.georges or at wigs by christian. If you're interested in like purchasing from like my business. I hope that you guys really enjoyed this video. I hope you guys found it to be helpful. I do spend a lot of time doing these videos. It takes a lot of like planning and writing and reading. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please leave a comment, even if it's as simple as hi or as simple as I like this. It helps my videos out so much. I love you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Mwah.